Greetings and welcome to Preparing the People for Christ channel. My name is Emmanuel. It's a blessing to have you here once again as we continue learning how to glorify God through good health and lifestyle. But before we begin, I encourage you to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone you love. Your support helps spread truth and health awareness that can save lives now and forever. Now, let's dive into today's episode to look at what really causes diabetes, the hidden truth no one tells you. What really causes diabetes, the hidden truth no one tells you. The hidden truth behind a global health crisis and how lifestyle choices silently trigger metabolic dysfunction. Brethren, around the world, diabetes is affecting millions, not just because of sugar, but because of our daily habits like diet, rest, and movement. It is a condition that develops silently over time. Let's continue to look at some misconceptions people have about diabetes. When most people hear the word diabetes, the first thing that comes to mind is sugar. But diabetes isn't really caused by sugar alone. Millions of people are developing it quietly without eating sweets. And brethren, this surprises many people. Some don't even take sugary foods, but still develop diabetes. That is because it is not just about eating sugar. It is about how the body manages the food we eat, especially processed carbohydrates. So what then is diabetes? Diabetes is a metabolic disorder affecting how the body converts food into energy. It is a sign that something much deeper is going wrong connected to how we eat, move, sleep, and handle stress. Metabolism, brethren, is the process that turns food into energy. So if our eating habits, sleep, or physical activities are off balance, the entire system begins to malfunction. For example, sitting for long hours and eating refined foods regularly can slowly damage this balance. So let's proceed to look at some understanding on the metabolic process. What happens when we eat? Diabetes is a condition where the level of glucose or sugar in the blood becomes too high. Mostly after eating, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, which enters your bloodstream. So think of glucose as the fuel your body runs on. When you eat food like rice, bread, or potatoes, they are broken down into this sugar to give your cells energy. But the problems start when your body cannot properly move that glucose into the various cells. So this is what happened. One, there is food breakdown. Carbohydrates convert to glucose in the digestive system. This happens quickly, especially with refined foods, okay, like white bread or pasta. Complex food with fiber, like whole grains or beans, break down slower and keep blood sugar more stable. Two, after the breakdown, there is release of insulin. The pancreas produces a hormone insulin to transport glucose into the various cells. So the insulin acts like a key. It opens the doors of your cells so glucose can what? Enter. If your pancreas is healthy, it releases just the right amount of insulin each time you eat to help transport this glucose into the various cells. Now these cells will use the glucose for energy with insulin as the key. So that is the third point. There is energy conversion. The food that is broken down, converted into glucose, insulin released for it to be transported into the various cells, will now be used by the cells for energy with insulin as the key. So imagine starting a car. Glucose is the fuel and insulin is the key. That starts the engine. Without insulin working properly, your body has fuel but can't use it. And when this happens, there is a system failure. If your body having fuel but cannot use it, fails the system. This is because when the insulin doesn't work properly, glucose remains trapped in the blood. This is the turning point, brethren. The glucose stays in the blood, raising blood sugar levels and beginning the journey towards what we call diabetes. And this system failure is as a result of one factor called the insulin resistance. Insulin resistance is when your body either does not make enough insulin or the cells stop responding to it. Insulin resistance means your body still produces the insulin, but your cells have stopped listening. It's like having a key that no longer fits the lock. And over time, this resistance builds up silently. Brethren, over time in the system, that excess sugar damages your blood vessels, your nerves, your kidneys, and your eyes. This is why untreated diabetes leads to complications like blindness, kidney failure, and heart disease. Remember, it is not sudden. It's slow damage over years. It is a slow damage over years. It doesn't happen overnight. It gradually happens. That is why most of us do not take into account these factors. They are very important signals to consider. This studies is a life-saving one that you and I have to take into consideration. Now, in a healthy person, in a normal ideal pathway, insulin is released by the pancreas. It opens the cell's doors to let glucose in. So this is normal. This is what's supposed to happen. In a healthy person, after a meal, insulin works smoothly. Glucose enters into the various cells and energy is produced 100%. Now the problem comes in when there is insulin resistance. What happens to the cells? The cell doors jam and refuse to open properly. This means your body cells have become numb to insulin and the sugar just build up in the blood. And over time, this constant high sugar level is a toxic to the body. And as a result of this, a signal is sent to the pancreas to produce the hormone insulin in more quantity to fix the problem. But it gets tired. It gets tired over time. And this is when the blood sugar rises uncontrollably. So, brethren, this is what happens leading to diabetes. There is a fault in the channel. The cells have resisted the insulin, or there is insulin resistance. The cell doors jam and refuse to open. More insulin is produced by the pancreas, but it is still not effective, leading to the formation of diabetes. Brethren, let's continue to look at the various types of diabetes that we have. There are two main types of diabetes. We have the type 1 and the type 2. In the type 1, the body produces little or no insulin at all. It is genetic in nature and it is autoimmune. What it means is that the immune system mistakenly attacks the pancreas to destroy the insulin cells in the pancreas, leading to no production of insulin. It is not caused by lifestyle, and it often begins in childhood. And when you are diagnosed with such type, which is the type 1 diabetes, you are required to be on insulin therapy for life because the body cannot produce insulin on its own. This requires an external insulin for effective use of the food they introduce into the body. Brethren, meanwhile, with the type 2 diabetes, it accounts for 90 to 95%. Whilst the type 1 accounted for 5 to 10% of all cases, the type 2 accounted for 90 to 95% of all cases. This is the common ones that most people have. And it is caused by daily habits, such as poor diet, inactivity, and stress. It doesn't develop at a glance. It develops gradually over years. But the good news is that it's often preventable and reversible. With changing your lifestyle, such as walking daily, eating more vegetables, and sleeping well, we can reverse early this type 2 diabetes. So, brethren, the key is in your hands. It's in your choices, your daily habits, your activities you engage in, your sleep patterns. This will help reverse early type 2 diabetes into normal. Now let's consider some of the hidden life triggers that slowly leads to type 2 diabetes. 1. Refined foods overload. When you take in food like white rice, white bread, pastries, and sweetened drinks, it quickly turns into sugar and overwhelms your insulin system. So these foods digest fast and flood your bloodstream with glucose. And over time, your insulin system can't keep up. 2. Physical inactivity. Sitting most of the day with no physical work makes cells resistant to insulin. So working long hours at a desk or watching TV without moving a nerve weakens your cell's ability to respond to insulin. 3. Chronic stress. Anxiety and overwork triggers cortisol release, raising blood sugar even without food. Brethren, the stress hormones like cortisol make your blood think it is a danger or it is in danger. So it raises your sugar levels for quick energy even when you are sitting still. So you get to see that diabetes is not all about sugar, but it's about daily activities, lifestyle choices. It's about things you do every day, the minute things you are not considering, you are overlooking. They are the very things endangering your life and your health. 4. Poor sleep patterns. Having less than 6 hours of rest disrupts insulin balance and appetite control. People who stay up late or sleep less tend to crave sugar and snacks the next day, worsening blood sugar control. So if you're not having enough rest, at least 7 to 8 hours a day, you are in danger of this crisis. Now, unhealthy fat, the 5th point. Too much processed oil, fried foods, and junk food block insulin pathways. These fat coats your cells and make it harder for insulin to open the doors. Fast food and fried snacks are the biggest culprits. So when you are taking too much processed oil, fried foods, and junk foods, these fats will coat your cells, and as a result, making it harder for insulin to open the doors. They cover the cells, coated it, and make it harder for insulin to penetrate. And this leads to diabetes, type 2 to be precise. So you have to avoid this processed oil, these fried foods, and junk foods, and fall on the natural fat like pear, avocado, like we have the coconut oil, we have the olive oil. These are healthy foods that can help prevent diabetes. Now let's look at the insulin resistance cascade, the channel, the ladder to this deadly condition. Think of your body like a home with many doors, and insulin is the key that opens each door, allowing sugar to enter your cells. Brethren, this is a simple picture. Each door represents a cell, and insulin opens it so glucose can enter. Now what happened? Feeding your body more than it can burn, eating large meals, often especially sugary or starchy foods, overwhelms your system with excess glucose. So it becomes too much for the system to burn, for the cells to burn. And this leads the door to jam. So the cell receptors become less responsive to insulin because of the overburden with high energy foods, the overwhelming quantity in excess of glucose in the body. So the more glucose you flood in, the more your cells start ignoring insulin, just like hearing the same alarm too often. So you see, this is exactly what happens in our system as well. And when this happens, a signal is sent to the pancreas to work overtime to keep in balance this process. So the pancreas produces more and more insulin to force the doors to open. Your pancreas keeps working hard to push sugar into the cells, but the effort becomes exhausting over time because it can't keep up with it. So there's going to be a system breakdown. The blood sugar rises, diabetes begins. At this point, you may start feeling tired, thirsty, or urinating more frequently. These are classic signs that your system is failing. So, brethren, there is a failure in the channel, in the chain, in the cascade. As a result, from the constant high energy foods introduction into the body, you are giving the body more than it requires. Remember, it is not just about sugar, brethren. It is not just about sugar. Diabetes is a silent killer. It's a silent choices that you are making each day that is resulting into this tragic condition. Many people believe that I don't take soft drinks, so I'm safe. But most everyday foods like rice, white flour, potatoes, bread, noodles are rich in carbohydrates. Carbs turn into glucose, even if they are not sweet. So it's not just soda. Large portions of this food can still spike your sugar. So when you are seeing all this food, the bread that we see, the noodles, those carbs, the potatoes, the white flours, the bread, all these things are rich in carbohydrates. So if you are even not taking sweet, these carbohydrates will be converted into glucose, into sugar. And if it is in excess, it will result into diabetes, type 2 specifically. But remember that carbohydrates aren't evil, but the portion size and the lack of fiber makes the difference. A small serving of whole grain pasta with vegetables is fine, but a big plate of white pasta with soda is dangerous. And especially when you don't include the fiber diet, like the beans, the oats, the whole grains. These are very vital food particles that help to slow the release of glucose or the absorption of glucose in the body. So when you eat a big portion of refined starch paired with sweet drinks, you are giving your body a double dose of glucose. And without the fiber or nutrients, that slows it down. This is why many people develop diabetes without realizing it. They overload their system with easy to digest carbs daily. And guess what? These foods are all around us. So we get them every day, and we tend to enjoy them every day. Brethren, foods like brown rice, oats, lentils, salads, they slow down glucose release and protect your pancreas. So the better choices you got to make is to include in your meals vegetables, beans, and whole grains, because these help to release slowly sugar and help to protect your pancreas all the time. Remember, the power to reverse the damage is in your hands. What are you going to do? The first thing you're going to do is to eat food like brown rice, oats, lentils, and salad. Include them in your diet to slow the absorption of glucose or the release of glucose in your body to protect your pancreas. The next thing you're going to do is to manage your weight. Research has shown that people with obesity, people who are obese, are prone to this type 2 diabetes more often. So you're going to manage your weight. You're going to lose at least 5 to 10% of your weight. And that means if you weigh 80 kilograms, losing just 4 to 8 kilograms can help your body respond to insulin again. So if your weight is about 80 kilograms, and then losing about 4 to 8 kilograms per day, or losing them frequently or drastically, can help your body respond to insulin again. Another thing you're going to do to help you is daily movement. Walking for about 30 minutes a day help the cells respond better to insulin. A simple daily walk after meals can lower blood sugar significantly. It is that powerful, and don't ignore it. And then with whole foods, eating more plant-based foods naturally regulates blood sugar levels. We have the fruits, the vegetables, the legumes, the nuts. All this nourish your body while balancing glucose naturally. And brethren, studies have shown that type 2 diabetes is largely preventable and even reversible when early detected. Your pancreas can rest, your cells can heal, and your sugar levels can drop naturally. That is the good news. Your body can heal if you give it the right care, rest, and nourishment. And as I close, I bring our studies to a close. The power to fight diabetes is in your hands. You can do that. It is in your plate, and it is in your daily choices. Every meal is an opportunity to heal or to harm. Choose wisely, and your body will thank you. Remember, diabetes doesn't begin with sugar. It begins with choices. But every day you choose better, you rewrite your health story. This is a message of hope. You can start today with small steps, less refined food, more natural meals, regular movement, and you're going to see a drastic change in your life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I believe you have been inspired, and I believe you're going to take a step further towards your health, your daily choices, and your lifestyle. In our next episode, we will discuss the early warning signs of diabetes that most people ignore, because catching it early will save your life. Please remember to share this with someone you care about. Subscribe to this channel for more health tips and education. And remember, knowledge is the first step towards prevention. Thank you for watching this episode on Preparing the People for Christ channel. I am Emmanuel, reminding you that good health is a sacred duty. If this message has blessed you, please like, share, and subscribe. Together, let's learn to care for our bodies, the temples God has given us. Until next time, stay healthy, stay faithful, and may God richly bless you. Goodbye.